Trouble in Tampa Bay? Can the Tom Brady-led Buccaneers finally get back to their winning ways, or does the Chiefs and Patrick Mahomes keep on rolling all the way to the playoffs? Join us for Week 12 of the NFL. Hey guys, welcome back to the Mr. R Show Sports, and happy Thanksgiving to you all. We're actually recording this on Thanksgiving, kind of a little bit late recording our video this week because yesterday was my 3-year anniversary with my girlfriend, and if anyone out there has a girlfriend and knows, it's hard to tell he or she, depending on your relationship status, that no, I will not spend time with you. I gotta record stuff. So that's what I was doing yesterday, but we're back today to record. We are a little bit later, so we will not be talking about the Texans-Lions game. Currently, it is the third quarter, and the Texans are up 26-17, looking like they're going to get a win in a game, Ashton, that's kind of like you told me right when we started, the most high-scoring, boring game you've ever seen. But without further ado, let's kick it off with the later Thursday night game due to the Steelers and Ravens game being postponed to Sunday. And that is the Cowboys at home against the Redskins. Battle for the NFC least. Ashton, who do you got?
Oh, Andy, tank division. You're starting off with tank division. Okay. Oh gosh. But can I pick them both to lose? Is that possible? Because this division, I feel like every team every week can lose. I guess I'll go Washington. I know Dallas had a win. For some reason, Dallas fans are really happy about that win last week. Like, okay, you beat a team that you clearly should beat, but
I'm actually going to go against you, Ashton. I got the Cowboys for the reason that, yes, they did get a win last week, but they also kept it very competitive against the Steelers without Andy Dalton on the field. So I think the Cowboys are starting to play a little bit better. It's still not good football. I'm not saying they're playing good. They're playing below average still, not trash. So in the NFC East, below average is still good enough to win your division. I think if they can string a couple wins here at the end of the season, the last 6 games, get 3-4 of those wins, they're going to be a 6-10 team going off to the playoffs. So I got the Cowboys in this game.
Mm-hmm. I think the sad part is if you put the Cardinals in the NFC East, I honestly think they would win every one of their division matches easily.
I think a lot of the teams would in almost any division.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, you put the Vikings in that division. Vikings are maybe a 9-win team, 10. So, Andy, let's go ahead and go on to the next one and go with Carolina at Minnesota.
That's a tough one, Ashton. Both these teams have been up and down, hot and cold, and kind of been, burning me this year, both the Panthers and the Vikings. I think without McCaffrey, and I think they're still going to be rolling out P.J. Walker with the Panthers, I have to go with Minnesota, also being in Minnesota. I think it's going to be a close game. It could go 50-50 either way, but I just have to roll with Minnesota here with Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, Andy, I got to agree with you. You know me, I love me some PJ Walker. I think he is very impressive. He is long due an NFL start. Bad circumstances, but you have to deal with what you got. Missing, I think the part about the Panthers that kind of worries me is them missing McCaffrey, and literally their offense for the last 2 years has been McCaffrey. Okay, every fourth play is to someone else. When you take out that key piece, it's like they get a little one-dimensional. Now, this game, I think, is going to be like maybe high 20s, low 30s for both teams, just by the fact that both defenses have big holes. I think the Carolina defense has been a little bit better than Minnesota defense, but Minnesota defense has been picking up.
Moving right along, Ashton, also sticking with that 1 o'clock slate of games on Sunday. That is the Raiders at the Falcons.
Ooh, blower of leads. I'm sorry, Atlanta, you're never going to live that down this season. I gotta go with Las Vegas. I think Las Vegas, they've been slightly better than I expected. I thought they would be an average team. They're above average team. They have some flaws. That's why they can't put away big, or I would say better teams. And I think they will allow Atlanta to keep in this game, but Atlanta is just such a mess right now.
Wow, Ashton, I'm surprised you're not taking Atlanta again after that pick last week when you picked them to beat the Saints. Should we bring that one up?
Andy, I have some hot takes, and my hot takes have served me well sometimes this year, sometimes not as much. I really thought Atlanta was going to pull that off, especially when Taysom Hill was announced as QB, but that didn't work out because Atlanta
Never
is
doubt.
awful.
Can never doubt against the meme himself, Taysom Hill. But I'll agree with you in this game. I got the Raiders. I've never been high on the Falcons. Their defense is just straight trash. Their offense can be good, but if you look at last week, Matt Ryan threw 2 picks and just looked awful. I just don't see anywhere that the Raiders really shine. You look at the running game. Obviously, Las Vegas is better with Josh Jacobs. The passing game, Derek Carr has been, honestly, hot take of mine, has been playing better than Matt Ryan this year. I do like the Falcons receiver core more, but if you don't have the quarterback right now, at least at the moment, to throw to them, it doesn't matter. And defensively wise, even if the Raiders aren't the best, they are much better than the Falcons in comparison. So I got the Raiders winning. I could see like a 7-point game, 10-point victory there.
Yeah, I agree with you actually about Carr. I thought Carr has been very good this year, better than Matt Ryan. I think Matt Ryan had a strong 2-3 week start, but after that, it's kind of fallen apart on offense.
All right, Ashton, let's move on to an interesting game. You have another blower of leads, a team that really just can't seem to get a win, is the freshly new haircut Justin Herbert-led Chargers against the Bills, who's looking like after my Dolphins lost last week, that they have the AFC East in hand as long as they don't lose.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a closer game than people expect, but I have the Bills on top. I think the Bills will win maybe by like 7 points. I think 7 points. Chargers, their offense isn't the problem. Their defense has just been unable to get off the field when they need to against really good offenses. And the Bills have I think they've shown that their offense is good, but it's not elite. And their defense has been average this year compared to like last year where they were really, really good. So it's been a little shocking to see the Bills kind of underperform, but they're still leading in your division. I know that hurts you a lot, Andy. Um, I still think you guys have that division, but it won't be by the Chargers helping you.
Yeah, Ashton, I got the Bills. I do like this team a lot. I know they started off hot, then had a couple straight weeks of just kind of falling down. Still won some games, but they kept teams that shouldn't have been anywhere near the ballpark in competitiveness close in games. I think lately they've been starting to play better up to their standards, at least on the offensive side of the ball. I think Josh Allen, when he's on, is one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. If he's on, he's not always on. It's obvious that that's the case. The Bills need a little bit better running game. I think I like their receiver core is really good. Stephon Diggs have been one of the best underrated receivers this year in the NFL. Defense, like you said, has played above average, but not this elite core that we saw last year that carried in the playoffs. So obviously, I think they can beat the Chargers, who really has no running game much at all. Justin Herbert's been playing really good, but you stop the pass, you stop the Chargers. I think the Bills can do it with their corner room, and I got the Bills winning. And honestly, Ash, as much as I pains me, I think the Bills with their schedule is just going to win the AFC East. But there's still more weeks, still more games, and you never know who you're going to lose to. Moving on, Ashton, to a game that would have been interesting if not for Joe Burrow's but season-ending injury. RIP to him. Gonna miss seeing him play. Exciting young man. Giants on the road against the Ryan Finley now led Bengals.
Giants.
Wow, look at you picking the Giants. So I'm gonna agree with you, Ashton. The Giants have been playing good, and they just got gifted this game. I'm not saying the Bengals can't win this game, but you start a quarterback that's really garbage. You start a running game that's been good, but Joe Mixon's still been hurt. Receiver core that's good, but no quarterback, and a defense that's maybe the worst in the league, Ashton. We can have a debate about that.
Hmm.
But the Giants have been playing tough. They've been playing hard. Daniel Jones has been playing better. I still not going to give a verdict on him being good enough, in my opinion, but still he's playing better these past couple of weeks, really showing off that mobile ability that he has there. So I get the Giants winning 4-7 and keeping pace to maybe win the NFC least.
I'm gonna say now, I think the Giants won the NFC East. They're the most balanced team in that division. I mean, they're not good by any means, but balance, I've been preaching it. The teams that are the most balanced are at least the most likely to move on. And I think the Giants are most likely to move on out of that division. Washington has a better defense, but their offense is atrocious. And the Cowboys have, like, I would say, a better offense, but their defense is atrocious. And then the Eagles
Oh
are
no.
just like a injury dumpster fire every week. All right, Andy, let's move on to a really, really good game in the Titans at the Colts. I think this is going to be one of those games where you're on the edge of your seat the entire time, and it comes down to the final play.
Ashton, last week, as you know, I was high on this Colts team. I picked them to beat the Packers, and they did in overtime. But it wasn't by, I wouldn't say it was a dominating win. They came from behind. They won a good game. I don't think they do it this week. I got the Titans in this game. I think the Titans are starting to play better after losing a good bit of games in a row, and everyone's like, oh, Titans are done. No, I think they're better. I think Ryan Tannehill needs to start playing a little bit better back to his, I would say, all-star Pro Bowl level back in the early years. But Derrick Henry is still a monster, tough to stop. This Colts defense is good, but not good enough to stop King Henry. Defensive side of the ball, I do like Colts, but I think the Titans defense has been playing a little bit better. They're still not great. But some's just telling me to pick the Titans on the road here, and that's gonna cement really them winning the AFC South.
I am really surprised you picked the Titans, Andy. You've been lower in the Titans than I have. You know, they are my Super Bowl pick this year going into the season, and I think they performed very well up to this point in the season. They've had some bad games, but in general, I got to go with the Titans. This Colts team, something about it, like their defense, don't get me wrong, is top 10. They're really talented and really good. But something about this, I don't trust this Colts offense, Andy. I don't. And I don't know if they'll be able to come up in big moments. Yes, they beat Green Bay, but Green Bay themselves have had a really, really big issue on defense from time to time. And so I'm just not sold on the Colts offense.
Yeah, I totally get that. The Colts, at 7-3 are still such a weird team because you don't know which team's going to show up, and that's why I'm picking Titans because I have more consistency in the Titans. But actually, moving on to a game that could be interesting, and that's the Cardinals going to Foxborough to play the Patriots.
Yeah, this is an interesting one. I feel like, oh man, both of these teams are similar. Similar in the similar in the sense of how they've been performing up and down. They've had like good sprints of really good games, and then they'll just get blown out or do terribly against bad teams. So it's like both are similar. Cardinals have had more luck and better circumstances than the Patriots when it comes to injuries and stuff. As much as I want the Cardinals to lose, I really hope the Patriots beat them, but I think the Cardinals will end up winning this. They are a very talented offensive team. I think it'll be lower scoring, like 23-14 Cardinals.
Ashton, this is going to be my upset pick of the week.
Ooh.
I'm going to go with the Patriots here. I think there's always one upset a week in the NFL, and I think the Patriots are in a prime position to do it. They've been playing a lot better. I'm not saying Cam Newton is better than he's not. He's still bad. He's still a problem with this offense, but his surrounding pieces are starting to help him a little bit more. His running backs are starting to play a little bit better. The defense is starting to come back to shape. Still not great because of the opt-outs due to COVID, so they're not going to be as elite as they were. They're not going to be I don't think they're going to be a playoff team. I think they're just going to miss it, but they're going to be like a bottom like 10 to 12 pick range. They're not going to be this bad pick range in the draft. But I think the Patriots just match up well with the Cardinals. You look when a team like the Patriots play anybody really, they keep it close. You look at the Dolphins when they beat the Dolphins. I know it was week 1, but they beat the Dolphins with a defense that's arguably better. So I think the Patriots get an upset here.
Picking upset. That's interesting, Andy. That's a spicy take from you. All right, Andy, let's move on to your favorite team taking on the Jets. Who do you have?
Dolphins, move on. We get another bye week after a terrible loss.
Well, I'm going to put Dolphins on upset alert. I'm kidding. No, Jets are trash. If you guys lose to them, like you told me, if the Rams lose to Jets, you can't live that down. If the Dolphins lose to Jets, like the Dolphins have to win this game. They really need it in order to stay in the playoff hunt. Man, if they lose to it. Andy.
I don't want to
Okay.
talk about that scenario. The Dolphins had a bad week last week. Offense looked bad, Tua looked bad, but we'll be fine. The defense is still really great, and against a Broncos team, you can have one bad game. You know, the Rams had a bad game against the 49ers. It happens. Yeah. They had a bad game against the Giants, even though they won. They had a bad game against the Giants, but it happens. NFL, you have 16 games, you're gonna have a bad game here or there. But even the Chiefs had a bad game.
Yeah.
Moving on, Ashton.
Yeah, I was about to say, let's move on to the Ravens at Steelers. Who you got?
Originally, the Thursday Thanksgiving night game is now at 1:15, so it's weird why they moved it. Really didn't make sense. It's tough. Ashton's a tough game, but I think I got to go with the Steelers. I mean, they're in Pittsburgh. The Ravens have been looking bad. Lamar Jackson has been looking bad. The defense isn't the same. It's like what on the Ravens is telling me that they can beat the Steelers team, which I know offensively has been stagnant sometimes, but defensively is top 3 still. I think I just like the Steelers in this game. I think the Ravens are going to play themselves really out of the playoffs because they're going to be 6-5 after this game.
Yeah, the Ravens have been shockingly inconsistent this year on offense, but I have to go with the upset Ravens. It is very hard in the NFL to go undefeated, and I feel like the Steelers are due for a bad game. They've had some close calls, and I feel like they are someone who's good to bet against because eventually they're going to have a bad down week, and the question is, can they survive it? And I think this Ravens team, while been underperforming, if the Steelers have a bad game, I think the Ravens can take advantage of it because they're desperate. The Ravens are starting to get desperate, and you have to watch out for desperate teams.
Yeah, Shema, I get the 100%, but Lamar Jackson has just not been playing to that MVP level we saw a few years back. It's just not the same team on the offensive side of the ball. Any team can beat this team, and I mean any team. Okay, not the Jets, but most any team can beat this team when healthy. But let's move on to a game that I almost picked as my upset pick, and that is the Saints at the Broncos.
Ooh. Oh. You go ahead and do your pick.
As you know, I did say almost pick, so I have the Saints here still. I mean, Taysom Hill's not a great quarterback. He had a good game against a terrible defense. Broncos defense is a little bit better. Justin Simmons is one of the best safeties, if not the best safety in the NFL currently. So he's going to have to face a defense that can get to you, they sacked the Dolphins 6 times last week, so they can get to you and they can get interceptions. So how can Taysom Hill adjust to that? They have Michael Thomas back, and he already caught 100 yards last game, so he's back. Hopefully he stays with the team, stays committed to the team. You know, Alvin Kamara. I have the Saints winning, but I think it's going to be a lot closer than people think. I think it's going to be within 3 to 7 points. I don't think it's going to be a blowout because the Broncos team, if Drew Lock plays good like it did against Miami, their defense can keep them in any game. But I get the Saints winning.
I have the Broncos winning this one. I feel like you had that instinct. you, I think Andy, you had the right instinct. I just have a feeling the Saints are not as good as they were the last 3 years, and somehow they only have 2 losses. So it boggles my mind.
Wow.
It,
Wow.
their their schedule is relatively easy from here on then, but I still think the Broncos team has been on the upward trajectory. And, Taysom Hill has to prove it to me if he can be a legitimate full time QB. I don't think he can.
Oh,
So we'll see.
actually, so speaking of the next game, which will be the Niners at the Rams, I like how you come out and say the Saints are not as good, even though they're 8-2. Yet you have complained this year that the media hates the Rams. So I think that's kind of irony there that you're hating on a team that's 8-2 and proving that they're a good team, but you think the Rams are the ones that are hated in the media, even though everyone loves them.
Can you name
But
me one good team the Saints have beaten?
they've beaten the Buccaneers twice.
Okay, and the Rams beat Buccaneers.
I'm just saying,
Name no,
8-2.
name another team that's good that the Saints have beaten. A great team, a good team, not a single other one. Like, congrats, they barely beat the Bears. They get blown. Like, I I just don't think the Saints are as good as everyone thinks they are. That's my personal opinion. I think Green Bay is better. And Green Bay proved it by beating the Saints earlier in the year.
Okay, Ashton. Like I said, the Saints are good. I understand that. I mean, it makes sense. But the Rams and the Saints, I think, are very close. I think the Rams are better at this point. But my point was just, I think the Saints are better than you give them credit for. That's all I'm saying. But let's move on. Let's move on to, like I said, the 49ers injury team travels to LA to play your Rams. Do we need to spend too much time on this game?
No, Andy. I had the Rams losing the last 2 matches, or no, I had them beating the Seahawks but losing the Bucks. Um, yeah, definitely. The Rams are going to beat 49ers. I still have a feeling that the Rams team is angry about that last 49ers game because that was very uncharacteristically bad for the Rams, especially their wide receivers. Like Cooper Cup doesn't drop catches. He dropped multiple catches. He dropped 2 touchdowns in that game. And that ended up being the difference. They ended up losing to a 49ers team that was playing good for being injury riddled. They had their QB back for a week or two. Lucky Rams. But, I think the Rams come back and they actually put down the 49ers by decent margin. I think they'll win by like 21 points, 20 points.
What watching Sean McVay games has taught me this year, Ashton, is that even when you're favored against a team that you should kill, you're still going to keep it close because of the conservative offensive play call we've seen from McVay all year. I'm not saying you're not going to win. Obviously, you're going to beat the 49ers, but I think it's going to be like 7 to 10 points because McVay is going to keep it close because we saw it against the Buccaneers. I wouldn't say it almost cost you, but you kept the Buccaneers in the game all the way up to the end because of the conservatism from McVay's offensive play calling. So against a team like the 49ers, that's not going to hurt you. Against a team like the Buccaneers where Tom Brady threw 2 picks and it's just every single pass looked bad, it's not going to hurt you. But play some of these better high-powered offenses like the Chiefs, I just don't think you can beat.
Like Seahawks.
Seahawks defense is
So,
also the problem.
yeah, but let me go into this because number one, you're right. Sean McVay needs to get better with his cautious play calling. He's terrible at it. Like the second the Buccaneers tied it up, you could see McVay's like, "Oh, okay, I have to score points again," and then he easily goes down the field and gets a touchdown or a field goal. Like he can do it if he wants to. When he starts getting predictable and cautious, he helps defeat himself and kept them in the game. But let's not pretend the refing, and we won the game. The refing was atrocious. This was one of the worst ref games I've seen the Rams play in last 2 years. By the fact that there were so many calls in a row against the Rams, and they were so bad. It wasn't just one bad call on one critical play. It was multiple bad calls on multiple plays. Yes, one of the actual pass interference calls was a good call. That was a solid call. The Rams player almost made a great play. He just didn't get there in time. Every other one, especially the two on Jalen Ramsey, those were not pass interference. Those were clearly not pass interference. Shouldn't have been called. The forced fumble should have, number one, I think that's a 50-50 call, whether you call it fumble or not. It shouldn't have been blown dead instantly. That was a big reffing mistake. It should have, if it wasn't a fumble, it should have definitely been a safety. It's like multiple times on critical downs, like 3rd and 10, the Buccaneers got bailed out. And if you look, 2 of their touchdown drives were off of those pass interference calls, blowing 2 of them that they shouldn't have gotten, bailing them out offensively. The Rams defense, no complaints. They played the game perfectly well against a really high-powered offense. Both 2 weeks in a row, they were almost lights out. The Buccaneers would have only got 14 points if it wasn't for some bad reffing, in my opinion. And we lost, or we won the
Wow.
game. We won the game.
Wow, you guys, it sounds like you're a Saints fan, my man.
That was one call. And you see,
I'm not, I'm
I
not,
hate, no,
I'm not
Andy.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm not disagreeing with you. It was a terrible ref game. I just find this, it's just funny how you're whining about the refs, but then when a Saints fan did it, when it was one of the worst calls I've ever seen in the history of the game, you said that wasn't any reason why they lost the game.
Well, it wasn't because they got the ball first in overtime. You see, here's the difference.
Okay,
That
they
was
ended the
one.
game if they would have got a touchdown.
Stop. Let me finish. The difference is the same. There were also
You're a
missed
Rams
calls on
fan?
the Rams. There were missed calls on the Rams. Their offensive drive, there was like a QB hit that the Saints should have got flagged for. So it wasn't just that they were missing calls for only the Saints. This was 4 or 5 bad calls, all in favor of the Buccaneers. That's why I'm pissed. Not just because of one pass interference, but multiple on 3rd and long for the Buccaneers. That's why I'm pissed. And missing the fumble recovery. It's like, yeah, you're a Saints fan and they missed one call. It
That's not
sucked. It
missing.
shouldn't have happened. But you can't tell me that it's equivalent at all. It isn't equivalent.
I
It
didn't
is.
say it was equivalent.
Then why'd you bring
I
it
never said
up?
it was equivalent. I said it was funny that you're whining about refs, and this when the Saints fan whined about refs, you called them stupid.
No, I called
That's
them
not-
stupid because they had multiple opportunities after that to win the game and they didn't. They
They didn't
had the
have that.
ball in overtime. They had the ball in
Ash,
overtime.
this is the question. We have the debate all the time. Is yes, any of the 2 teams could have put the game away before that call. But if it wasn't for that call, do you think they would have scored points then and won the game?
You don't know that. Drew Brees threw an interception the first drive in overtime. Just a few plays later. You can't tell me it is for certain. Nothing is for certain in this
You
league.
can't bring up overtime because there would be no overtime if that penalty wouldn't have happened. All I'm saying this, Ashton, is the refs made some bad calls. That's fine. You still allowed points. Defense still allowed points. But Rams still won. Rams are still a top 10 team. I don't know if they're a top 5 team yet. They still got to win some more games. Win out. I think they can win their division, but they got to play the Seahawks again. That's going to be a tough game. They got to play the Cardinals again. That's always tough. But we'll see, Ashton. You get an easy win against the 49ers, and it should pat your confidence. It should. Let's move on to arguably the game of the week, maybe. I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers need a win here. They're at home again, but they have the Chiefs coming to town. They have any chance in this game?
Mm. I gotta say the Chiefs pull it out. The Bucks are hungry for a win, especially after losing to the Rams, but I just don't see them being able to. It'll be a high-scoring game. I'll say that because Chiefs defense has been a little Swiss cheesy as of late, like they typically are. But Patty Mahomes is still playing really, really good, and gotta give it to him.
I think you don't give the Chiefs defense enough credit. I know last 2 weeks they've allowed 30 points, but before that they were playing really good. They held the Bills to under 20, so they're a really good team. Like they're a better defensive team than last year. They're still not great. I wouldn't say that, but they're fighting their way back into a serviceable enough defense to win another Super Bowl. And the offense got better than last year, and it was already the best in the league last year. So Tampa Bay does not have a chance in this game, in my opinion. I really think the Chiefs are just going to come in and roll because you look at when the Saints played the Buccaneers with a good defense like that, they destroyed them. I think it's not going to be as destroyed, but I still got the Chiefs winning like a 38-17 kind of game.
Mm-hmm.
Moving right along, Ashton, to a game we should easily predict: Bears at Packers.
Packers.
Yeah, Ashton, Bears have been playing bad. They played up to their status of paper tigers. Packers got a bad loss. They're not going to lose again. They move on to 8-3, beat the Bears. And last game of the week, Ashton, on Monday night, Seahawks themselves travel to Philadelphia and play the Eagles.
I gotta go Eagles. I think the Eagles are desperate. They have to win this game if they want a chance. Well, I think they have to win this game if they want to have any sort of relevance in the playoff hunt. I know the division's bad, but I feel like one other team is going to start running away with it, so to say, with like 5 wins, which is terrible to say. Running away with the division, Andy, with 5 wins. That's something.
Are you honest? Are you seriously picking the Eagles to beat the Seahawks?
I am.
Jeez, Ashton, I've heard a lot of hot takes from you, but that is the worst I've heard all week. You have some kind of hate against the Seahawks, always wanting them to lose, but they're not going to lose this game, Ashton. There's no way they're going to lose this game. Eagles are straight garbage. Carson Wentz has played awful this year. I don't know what. Nobody knows what happened to Carson Wentz. Where is he? Because it must be some kind of clone, and they put Carson Wentz in a freezer or something, because that's not the same Carson Wentz we've known from previous years. And it's not like he's hurt. He's been healthy and been bad, so it's weird to see.
Do the Eagles run at all?
They're not a good running team.
That's perfect for playing against the Seahawks.
Not being a good running team or a good passing team is a perfect recipe for the Seahawks.
Well, no, I feel like they won't even have to pretend that they have to run. The Eagles can't run the ball, so they can just focus on passing. And the Seattle defense is terrible against the pass.
Ashton, unless Russell gets hurt, there's no way the Seahawks are going to lose this game. There's just no. They're a top 5 team in this league with a bad defense. That offense they're the Chiefs when they lost in the playoffs to the Patriots 2 years ago. That's kind of the Seahawks of the team now. They work on that defense next year. They're a Super Bowl team.
Oh,
no question.
Quick game we had to go over: Browns versus Jaguars. I don't think we said it, but Browns, right?
Oh wow! I mean, we probably thought it was so boring we just didn't want to talk about it. But yeah, I mean,
Browns.
as much as I would love to say the Jaguars are going to upset, there's no way. I mean, they had one good game against the Packers, but I think the Browns' defense is the reason why they win games, not their offense. And against the Jaguars team, your defense can play bad and still play good. So I got the Browns. But guys, that wraps up Week 12. We hope you're having a great Thanksgiving day, Black Friday day. However, that's going to happen with COVID. Try to do it online as much as you can. If you go in store, please try to be distant. But it's tough to do in Black Friday. We get it. So stay safe as you can. Thank you for joining us this week. We're excited to watch some football this weekend. Ashton's going to come down to my house this weekend. We're going to celebrate our Thanksgiving then, just due to work issues with him and his wife over there. So we hope you guys all stay safe. Have a great holiday weekend, and we'll see you guys next week.